Hi folks, this is my sculpture of a Paleolithic goddess such as were carved 40,000 years ago. The Venus of Willenhof being one of the most famous ones, which was not this size, but as I have in my pocket, this is the size that they were found around all Paleolithic sites. And I've been quite drawn to reconnect with this ancient form of sculpture and to find out by actually having them and using them, what's it feel like to have one of these. So I've been making quite a lot of them, and they've been going around. People have been find them very comforting and inspiring to have a little Mother Earth figurine in their life. So I will be having these small ones that I'll be selling, as well as this big one that's the same figure but just very impressive and big, life size. So what I'm covering her with at the moment is this stuff called, I need to put my protective gloves on, because lime, which I'm using, which is an ancient material that could have been used. Once you had fire, you could then heat up limestone rock, grind it up and make this very durable material. So I'm quite enjoying the fact that I'm actually using ancient materials as well as creating an ancient form. Quite nice. Forward to the past. So here's the stuff mixed up. You can sort of see little fibres coming out of it, which is the hemp fibres, which I'll just show you the hemp shiv it's called. It's you can sort of see it has this sort of woolly stuff, which is just actual fibres of the stalks of the hemp. This would be hemp that was grown for the seeds, for the oil. It's very good at not growing very healthily without artificial additives like pesticides and fertilizers. Quite important. Soaks up a massive amount of carbon dioxide, and is a very good durable material. So that's mixed with the lime mortar for this layer. So underneath this was a layer of just lime going into the mesh underneath to give it strength, and then this second layer, which gives it form, has the hemp fibres with it, which means that it'll hold together, and you can actually, it won't sink like it would if it was just cement mortar. It would just sink down because there's nothing to hold it together, but the hemp fibres do that. So you can see here, I've been able to give her a nose. I'll be able to shape the breasts and the arms and the belly really easily using this hempcrete. And this is what you do with it. You sort of make it into a sort of patty, and then you put it on where you want it, and it stays there. It doesn't that extra force of pushing it on means that it doesn't move off. And then you just gently smooth it on with a trowel. I quite like this sort of rugged finish that you get on this level. That you can actually, it's not completely smooth, but the final finish I do want it to be smooth, so you see the sort of form rather than get distracted by individual little bits on it. It's just my style really. Everybody has different styles. Some people like it's a bit like oil painters. Some of them are using a palette knife, not that different than this, and using in big sweeping strokes, and others are using fine brushes and washing subtle colours into it. So this is, I'm sort of doing both, and look, you see there, sometimes you get something inside it. But the great thing about lime is that it's very slow setting, so you can come back to it. It's a bit like oil paint as well. You can come back to it the next day with oil paint as well and rework it. And that's, as an artist, that's really nice that you're not pressurized by time to do things. This was yesterday's, and it's still usable. If you can see that, but it's you can go back and reshape things. You can even scrape bits off if you want to. You can, if I decide the belly was too big, I could actually scrape it off. For 2 or 3 days, I could actually come back to it and have a second look at it. And of course, you can add as well to it if you decide that it's something's not full enough. Like this arm here, which you can't see, I decided it wanted to have a little. I wanted to make it fairly strong looking, so I put a bit more mortar on the arm, so she's got more of a defined shoulder and upper arm muscle, and then her hands coming around here holding her belly, which is a nice, I like this pose of she's just pregnant thought, I think you could call it. So that's this stage. I'll show you again when we come to the next stage, which will be the finishing stage, when it'll go back to the smoothness of the pure lime mortar. And then I have some ancient ground rock paint, pigments made out of ground rock, red, yellow and black, which I could, as they did do in hundreds of thousands of years ago, use in the cave paintings. You see they've done exactly the same, got ground up rock and painted their hands often, or animals, and all things that were significant and important to them, onto cave walls and objects. At the moment I'm thinking I'll probably just keep her white, because I think that'll be really powerful. That she'll be, with white you get shadows, and the shadows on this, because there's soft round shapes, I think the shadows are going to be really useful to give her a great sense of holding space. Thank you.